guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be episode 18 of the SCANIA 143 restoration project on this heavy wrecker. So this is only going to be a short video, guys, just to put you all in the picture of where we're up to with this project, what's to come next. I've had a couple of people messaging asking about colour schemes, what's going what colour, how we're doing things, what sort of stickers we're going to be having on it, and why we've done things the way we've done them. Getting quite a few messages now on emails and stuff asking certain questions, so this is just a bit of a video to update you guys as to where we're up to, what's to come next, why we've done things the way we've done it, and obviously colour schemes and stuff like that. So we're going to start off with inside the cab. Just clear a few things up in here. Just get this door open, guys, there's no handle on it. Obviously we've just painted the cab. So I've had a few people messaging asking what this product is, this sound deadening, this sound matting. It's a product called Dead Mat. Let me just see if I can zoom in on that for you a little bit. So you'll see it there, it's called Dead Mat. It's quite a good product, I'm pretty happy with it. It seems to adhere really well. It's not overly expensive. Now the only issue we did have with this stuff is they've actually run out of stock of the square tile type. I explained this in the previous episode. These came in a little square sheet, so they're in sections. You just stick them on and then sort of trim them down to size. We've managed to find the same product, same manufacturer, but it's not in the tile type stuff. It comes on a roll, so I'd rather use the same stuff but on a roll rather than trying to get something that's the same size like the tile type stuff but in a different brand. So we've ordered a couple of rolls so to finish this sort of stuff off, but we have now got to cut it off the roll to size rather than doing it in the tile sections. So that's that. Also, I've had a couple of guys messaging asking, did we just stick this on by hand? It should have been rolled on and blah blah blah. Yes, we did roll it on. The roller's there, as you can see. So we've pushed this in. You can see where we've shaped all this. I didn't get it on video. As you can imagine, the footage putting all this stuff in, it's sped up, so what is a couple of minutes of a video that I upload is sort of 20 or 30 minutes worth of footage, so it does back the memory up. So it was only a brief video just to show you guys what, how this stuff goes on. So yes, it was rolled, the roller's there, and you can see how we've shaped it in to all the panels on the cab, how it's all pushed in nice and tight. So I hope that clears that one up for you guys. That is all rolled in, and obviously we will roller the rest of it in once we get round to doing the rest of it. We're also going to be doing inside the doors and up into this headboard section and get as much of this stuff in this cab as we can. It's going to help with condensation behind the panelling, but also we are planning on putting quite a decent audio system in this truck, so it's just going to stop sort of like the tin canning noise. Obviously we're going to have some subs and amps and stuff running in here, so we don't want all this rattling and vibrating, so we're just trying to reduce that vibration as much as we can. So that's another purpose this is going to serve. So let me just get back out of this cab, guys. Sorry, just before I do get out of this cab, dashboard. We are going to be covering this dash. We're thinking of either having it trimmed in sort of a level with a stitch or flocking it with a flocking kit. So there is quite a few marks and stuff on this. It is an old dash. The whole interior is getting retrimmed. We've actually sent that away to an upholsterer. We're having some nice stuff done on the seats and the bed and stuff. We're having sort of Scania V8 Vabis and all that kind of stuff embroidered and embossed into the seats. The truck actually came without any seat headrests on, so we've managed to locate a couple of headrests for the seats, so we're having them fitted as well. We're going to put a false bulkhead in here and do something nice and sort of put some light up backboard and stuff in it, and obviously all the sides are going to be retrimmed. We're still struggling trying to find a roof line, but when we do get one of them, that's going to be retrimmed. We're probably going to have it pleated or something to that effect, and some nice stitch work in there. The interior is going black with like leather and gold stitching, because we are going to be having some bits of gold on the truck. As you'll have seen, we did have quite a lot of stuff zinc plated, which comes back in gold zinc. So we're going to tie that in. All the wheel nuts are going to be plated, zinc plated. So all the wheel nuts are going to be gold, and just sort of not going over the top with the gold, just little bits and bats here and there just to break it up a little bit. The cab has been painted. We haven't painted the wheel arches or the steps, because as you can imagine we're going to be in and out of this cab a hell of a lot. to do all the sound deadening, putting all the interior back in, doing all the dash trim, door cards. We're putting new window regulators and motors in it. So we're going to be in and out of this cab a hell of a lot. So obviously we're going to be walking on this, boots are going to be rubbing on it. So we've asked Tom not to bother painting this yet because it's just going to get damaged and scuffed. We don't want to take these off because we do need ease of access into the cab rather than using ladders. So these are going to be the last things that we paint. That's why these haven't been painted, because again I've had a couple of people ask why the steps haven't been done along with the cab. So that's the reason for that, just to prevent it getting damaged while we're working and getting in and out of the cab. The front bumper, as you'll see there, it's actually dropped a little bit. This is a weighted front bumper. Not sure the exact weight, but I would imagine it's probably a ton or maybe more. And over the years, obviously it's pulled the bolts down, so you'll see there that line is actually out. So we're going to be releasing them bolts up. We're going to get the stacker in front of this once we can get the truck running and moving again. Obviously we still need to finish that wiring off before we can do that, and then we're going to straighten that front bumper up to make this line flow better rather than being on an angle. So that's the reason again why the front bumper's not been done yet, but it is a separate panel, so you know it's not really a big issue. The wheels, we're not entirely sure yet. We're probably going to go with a white rim, with a sort of like a Dutch type rim. Maybe put some red inside there, sort of white in the centre and red on the outer lip, or vice versa. White outer lip, red on the inside. Same again, the hubs are going to be painted in red to match the chassis. We've got all new headlights coming for it. A couple of you have asked what we've painted the intercooler radiator in. These was all cleaned off, shot blasted. Give them a quick rub down, quick scotch padding. The radiator's then been done in zinc rich primer and then just some matte black paint. And the intercooler again was that we put some etch primer on that because it's aluminium, and then we just painted this with some silver, wheel silver colour paint. We did notice afterwards that the intercooler is actually damaged. It's got a bit of a hole in there, so we do need to still find an intercooler for it, which is a shame because we've painted the damn thing. But we are trying to do a million things at once on this, so it is what it is. We'll find one, we'll get that sorted. Colour wise, obviously the cab is all going white, all the steps are going white, front bumper possibly going white. I'm going to overlay a couple of pictures into this episode just to show you how the truck has changed, how the colours have changed over the years. I don't know the exact ins and outs of the truck, of its history. I do know some of its history. It was built by Wreckers International for lantern recovery, or by lantern recovery. We do have the build plate for this truck from when it was new. I've got pictures of when it was in lanterns colours as well. It's done a stint at Marsden's when it was in yellow, and it's been to a few other places. It started off originally as a 380, I believe, and it's now had a V8 transplant, so it is now we're fitted with a V8 engine, which will give it a lot more power, a lot more torque, make it more usable for the job, obviously pulling a lot of weight. So that's that. The cab's all going white, bumper's all white, obviously the chassis and the engine and everything down the centre is red. I've explained the wheels. These lockers are going in white on the outside, but we are going to do the inside of the lockers in red to match the chassis. You have to excuse the mess, guys, it's all been masked up. Tom's been doing some priming, I'll show you that in a minute. That's the reason why all this has been covered up, just to stop overspray getting on this nice clean white paint. Again, there's the cab all painted up. One of the next things we do need to do is get back on with that wiring loom, so we can actually get this vehicle started driving, so we can pull it out this corner and have a good clear up. Let's start to move backwards a little bit. A few people have asked why the lifting gear hasn't been painted with the chassis. The reason for that was because we had the chassis shot blasted. Obviously once that was shot blasted, it was in bare steel, so as you can imagine it will flash rust pretty quickly. So we wanted to get paint on back on that chassis as soon as possible to prevent any rust setting back in before we put the paint on. We didn't get the underlift shot blasted because obviously there's a lot of grease and stuff in the booms. We didn't want all shot media getting inside all the winches, all the mechanisms, in all the ram seals, in the winching boom and the underlift and all that lot. So all this is going to be prepped by hand, and that's the reason why this hasn't been done yet, because we didn't want to get it shot blasted and we didn't have time to sand all this and prep it by hand before we could paint the chassis, because that would have been rusting by the time we're prepping that. But we have made the decision that all the red is going to be redone. We're going to do it all again. So This now is just basically a protection coat to stop the flash rust. Once we've got all the rams and everything back on here, we will be prepping this and repainting the whole thing again to make it all nice and clean, because there was some damage done to the paint when we had to get these rams pressed and cut and get all these pins out. It was an absolute nightmare of a job to get out. We've since sent them rams off to a hydraulic specialist. He come back to us yesterday. He's had the rams for a couple of weeks now. He's now stripped the rams down, and he says that they may well be end of life. They've been sat with quite a bit of water. He said there was quite a lot of sludge inside the cylinders, and he's not entirely sure that the bores are going to be honeable. So if we can't get the scoring out of them cylinders, he will have to make us some new rams, which is going to be a bit of an expensive job, but it's got to be done. We want to make sure this truck's right. So worst case, it will have to have a new pair of rams back. We can't do an awful lot until these rams are back, because currently the body is sat on a block to support the weight while these rams are off. Once them rams are off, we're going to get these little kicker rams done as well. Take them off and get them hopefully repaired. Hopefully them ones don't need replacing as well. So that is where we're up to with the body. Again, we're probably not going to be updating this now, guys, for possibly a week, maybe two, because we've got a lot of stuff going on in the background with other businesses. We're waiting for certain things to come, like the rams and stuff. Tom's been cracking on with the body work. Tom will continue to do the body work, which I will try and get some footage of, but it's probably not going to be enough to make an episode. And we're not going to be able to get any mechanical work done now for possibly a couple of weeks, until we can get some time between ourselves. So I hope that has answered your questions on that side of things. If you do have any more questions, guys, please do feel free to either pop them in the comments or send me an email. I always drop my email address in the description, so you can find me and contact me there via email if you don't want to post publicly. So I'll spin round here, and as you'll see there, side lockers have now been primered. Again, this is just basically a coat to stop these rusting, and what we didn't want to do, because these are going to need quite a lot of filler work, obviously the dinks and dins and bits where we've had steel chopped out and replaced, where it's not 100% flat. It's never going to be 100% flat. So the reason for this is now we've got a coat to actually fill against, so when Tom starts to do his body filler work, we're not filling against bare metal, because obviously these were in such a state. There was quite a lot of pitting. They was in quite a sorry rusty state, these, so we're just trying to hold the rust back as best we can. We are always going to get bits of rust coming back through on these. That's just inevitable. We're never ever going to be able to hold the rust back on something like this, even from new, you know, a couple of years after, then they start to rust and stuff. So we're just doing everything we can, guys, to try and prevent this rust coming back for as long as possible. So that is the reason for this primer coat. It's nothing special. It's basically been stripped down to the bare metal. We've rust treated it all with a phosphoric acid mix, and also some Built Amber Hydrate 80 rust inhibitor, again just to try and hold this back for as long as we can. Tom can now put his filler onto the primer, and obviously it will all be re-primed again once we've got it all flat and all the lines straight and all the dints and dings out of these. And then these are going to be painted white all across the front, all across the top, and then down the back side of these back ends are all going to go red. That's how it was originally, so that's how we're going to put it back. So all the way down these back edges, both sides are going to be red, which will tie in with the chassis, which obviously goes down the centre of there, and the rest of it is just going in a nice bright white, the same colour as the cab. All inside these lockers have been primed as well. Oh, it's looking a hell of a lot better than it did when we first got it. Again, we're doing everything we can to try and stop this rust coming back. Again, all inside there has been done. Every locker has been primed there, guys. I hope you agree. That is, if you've been following this build from the start, hopefully you'll agree that is a million times better than it was when we got it. I mean, when we got this, there was actually no floors in half of these lockers. It was that bad with rot. Get in there. As you can see, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about, where it's been repaired numerous times. We haven't done all this welding. Some of this is previous work that is solid. It's not rusty, so we just left it in. Obviously, it's all going to have to be skimmed now to make it all nice, flat and smooth. the amount of welding we've put into this. It was just we had to draw the line somewhere. Again, all inside there, all nice and primered. We are going to be going around and seam sealing all this now, and that's another reason for the primer. We're going to be going around all these edges, all these welding lines that we've put in, and sealing all this up to try and get it as watertight as we possibly can. Never going to be 100% watertight again, they're not even 100% watertight from new, but we will do everything physically that we can to try and hold as much of that water back as possible. So yeah, that's where we're up to, guys. And I just wanted to put you all in the picture. He's also done the flyer. This is all now primered as well, inside and out. Again, if we move around this side, it's all in primer. Again, this is just a first coat, just to prevent this flash rusting, and so we've got something to fill against. Yeah, so that's going to be it, guys. Like I say, this is probably going to be the last video now for a week or two, just while we crack on and get some other stuff. We're entering a busy period now for our companies. It ain't going to come to a stop by any means. We are going to crack on with it. It's just going to be a quiet couple of weeks potentially. So again, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Drop us an email, drop us a comment. I hope this has answered some of your questions. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you're enjoying watching this restoration, and hopefully you'll enjoy the end product. And I'll see you all on the next one, guys.